Have you ever thought of your life as a game? An open world adventure where you're the main character. You choose the path to follow, you face adversity, and you discover hidden quests along the way. You're on a mission, and every moment, every encounter has its own purpose, even if you can't understand it at this point in time. It's just like every other game, it has a beginning and an end, and you can either choose to be part of the game or be excluded from it. Seeing life through this lens transforms it into an appealing and interesting game filled with roles to learn, choices to make, and consequences to face. This is the single character model. A model that I've built where you're the main character in the game of your life. Everything that you do counts. The ultimate goal is to understand the game as you go, and most importantly, to try your best. Three main levels are crucial to be aware of, as it will shift the perception that you have of the game of life. First, and before you even enter the game, you have to be aware of the fact that you're the product of your own DNA. It's kind of the default mode of your character. You're born with a unique code that's the combination of not only your parents, but the results of long ancestral lineage. This DNA is just like a treasure passed down through generations, and it's filled with the stories of all the people that existed before you. And the first thing you have to do is accept that it has been gifted to you, and you have to honor it. This is the very first step. Of course, you can change these initial settings, and fighting against them would be a waste of time, really. It's out of your control, and maybe that's the way it's supposed to be after all. Because those features of your character, good or bad, are the reason why your life is meaningful. Instead of hating your DNA for not giving you better traits, recognize this. Your imperfections hide opportunities to grow. And the deepest the weaknesses, the higher the potential for growth is. So every day you wake up, you have this chance to learn more about how to use your traits to your advantage. It's like you have a built-in manual that you need to get a hold on. And some people call it fate, others will just call it destiny. In any case, it's about discovering how to play with the hands that you've been dealt with. Yes, certain aspects of your life are predetermined. Don't forget that your DNA is a code, and just like every other biological code, it's scripted in a way that you can't possibly understand. And this is the first rule. You have to accept the presets that you're dealt with. It is beyond your control, and if you resist, you're going to feel like the game is rigged against you. And you'll eventually feel resentment toward your own character. But here's the thing. Everyone has to play with whatever life has given them. No exceptions. And this is the reason why comparisons between individuals is flawed in its own nature. It's only focused on superficial aspects because you can't read into the DNA of the other person. And the game of life is just about balance, not about fairness. You can have light without darkness, and you can have amazing qualities if you don't have profound flaws encrypted into your own being. Your character is born with these inherited strengths and weaknesses, and it's simply the price to pay to enter the game. And then there's the next layer, and the next layer is shaped by your experiences. You are the product of your genetic combined with the experiences that you've gone through. And in the eyes of nature, that's pretty much all you are. Because experiences are emotionally potent data. And the more data you get about yourself, the more advanced your character can develop. The thing is that the more powerful the experiences are, the more capacity they have to alter the structure of your character. And this is especially true with childhood experiences, because you haven't lived enough to have enough data to compare them to. During early years, everything that you encounter seems absolute because your brain is still learning how to process and categorize the world around you. Foundational experiences can significantly shape your personality, for better or for worse. And evolutionary speaking, the human brain is at a crossroad of two opposite worlds, the rational and the emotional. As a primitive emotional being, just like an animal, you have impulses, desires, and emotions. But as a rational being, you also develop morals, values, and judgment. The problem is that your character develops the emotional side way before the rational. And the rational side will stay behind until you're about 20 years old. This emotional dominance is crucial for the survival. And it's just not something that you can fight. It's just how you're wired to grow. Simply put, your character will start primitive and then develop its skills and intelligence later on. And as you grow, there is a certain order to things. because particularly through adolescence, your personality start to solidify. Just like building a house, the foundation is everything as you build from the ground up. And this is why those early experiences are key to understand your character personality. Don't forget that you also pick your skills along the way, focusing on some more than others. And if you don't use certain skills, your brain eventually let them go. And you get to choose those skills truly. Just like when you're using experience points to develop your magic or your weapons in a game. For example, if you've moved around a lot as a kid, you might be better at adapting to new places and understand different social norms than someone who didn't move. And if you were, for example, an only child, you might have developed a rich inner world and creativity from spending more time alone. It's hard to say exactly how experiences will change you, and it's not the goal, but the general idea is clear. They shape you and influence which character traits you're going to develop. At this stage, the game is all about where you currently are and the potential room for improvement that there is in front of you. But before you can level up, you really need to get to know your character better. How you do it is through a cycle of trying and reflecting. Failing will allow you to learn much more about yourself than succeeding in the end. So, if you fail, that's just completely okay. It's all about taking actions. You're seeing what happens next, and then you're being brutally honest with yourself while you're reflecting back. That's just a golden strategy, and it applies to everyone. Understanding the ins and outs of your character, you can stack the odds in your favor because you know how to play with the roles. Recognize your strengths and weaknesses. Like strategizing in a game, you decide how to invest your time and allocate your resources wisely. But you can't do everything all at once, so you have to choose carefully. In reality, focusing on one thing is just essential. You need to be practical and do what's most realistic considering the situation that you're in right now. From that point on, you choose the game plan. And I've noticed that there's usually two different paths suggested for self improvement. The first one is to work on the skills that you already have, pushing them to the limits to maximize your potential for growth and possibly your earnings also. This is what we're going to call brute forcing the improvement. And the second option isn't easier. In fact, I'd argue that it's harder. It's about digging in your weaknesses to see what's hidden behind it. You try to improve as a human being because you've acknowledged the fact that you're flawed and you're decided to work on your character. In any case, there is no universal right or wrong choice. It's all about what fits your need, perception, and situation best. One thing needs to be said though. Remember that there are no cheat codes in life, and trying to shortcut your way through will only backfire. Because the game of life has been balancing itself over millennia, and the house always wins. And life is played one day at a time. You don't have an entire lifetime. You have 24 hours before the game resets. So focus on living each day to the fullest. And by that I mean trying to improve as much as you can and to engage in activities that are meaningful for you. Because your character is the only thing that you can truly control. Life will throw challenges along the way. And you have to remember adversity is just another word for opportunities for growth and improvement. And with every experiences, you learn more about the game and how to play it. And the ultimate mission that you have is to be the best version of yourself within the parameters that you've been given. And this is the single character model. A model that simplifies life into a game where you play a character destined to evolve, leveraging your unique set of skills. The game is only and solely focusing on you, the individual. The goal of the game is just to keep playing. The game doesn't end until life does. And the aim is to make as much progress as possible in a limited amount of time that you have. And I just created this model in order to get rid of all of the potential social comparisons and the feeling of inferiority that might be associated to it. So I truly hope this helps, and you'll find me here if you need it. And in the meantime, you just trust the process.